In today's video, I'm going to tell you what my life was like as a vegan in India. If you're new here, my name is David. I'm an animal rights activist. I just spent around 12 months or so in India working with animal rights activists and vegans on the ground all over the country. So after all of that experience, I thought, well, let's make a video and let's break down what it's like to be a vegan in India. We're gonna go through some of the great things and also the not so great things. Let's kick off with the food. I know that's what you really want, so let's start here. Let's kick off with the food. Eating vegan in India is easy. You see, India has a huge population of what is known as pure veg. Pure veg people don't consume any animal products apart from honey and dairy. So what this means is if you can successfully communicate to someone that you want a meal that is pure veg without honey and without dairy, you've got yourself a vegan meal pretty much anywhere in the country. But very, very important, dairy is a massive part of Indian food, and you will find something known as ghee in almost every single meal. Ghee is a kind of butter. At least 1 spoon of it is put in almost every single dish you will see in a restaurant. So when you specify no dairy, you have to be very specific, and that means no ghee, no cream, no milk, no butter, no dairy. You need to be very, very specific and strict on this. If you're in the south, idli is a great option, and it's almost always vegan. Just make sure to ask when you order it. Idli is kind of these little rice cakes. They're served with some sauces, and it's just a really nice little meal. Usually people eat it for breakfast. Or if you want to risk spending a few days on the toilet, you could go for the street food. The street food in India is mostly vegan by accident because it's usually the cheapest food you can buy in India, so they can't really afford to be putting things like ghee in it because ghee is expensive. So you'll find things like samosas or pani puri are almost always vegan. What about vegan restaurants? There are many 100% vegan restaurants around India, especially in the big cities. They're mostly catered towards tourists and affluent locals, so be prepared, the prices are usually much, much higher than other local restaurants. But they're still nowhere near as expensive as the European or American counterparts, so if you're on a vacation, I'm sure you'll be able to fit that into your budget. The easiest way to discover these places is with happycow.net or with A Billion Veg. Happycow.net is a website that is 100% free to use. You can find vegan-friendly and vegan places anywhere in the world, and they're pretty much all listed on that website. And A Billion Veg, they not only list the restaurants, but A Billion Veg actually allows people to review the dishes from the restaurants. If you're actually living in India or you just don't want to eat out, well, you're in luck. Eating plant-based at home in India is cheap and easy. There are supermarkets and grocers all over the country selling everything you need. Rice, beans, chickpeas, lentils, flax seeds, sesame seeds, as well as a wide range of fruits and vegetables are used in most local dishes across the country, and so these are all available at very reasonable prices. If you are coming to India from the West, you need to get used to cooking and using ingredients from scratch and making Indian dishes. If you can learn to do that, and you will learn to do that, then you'll have a really good plant-based vegan experience at home. Trust me, once you get the hang of it, you'll be making dal, rice, and chapatis in no time, multiple times a week, and you'll be loving it. Now let's move on to the people. What are people's attitudes to vegans and veganism? People who know about veganism in India tend to think it's a diet, so it's just the same as everywhere else. But there is something very different about how Indians see veganism, and it's directly linked with how Indians see animals. India has a strong history of Buddhism, Hinduism, and Jainism, so the way they see animals is very, very different to how people in the West, for example, see animals. Check this clip out where I met a young group of Jain guys. They had just watched a video that we were showing about the dairy industry and came over to me and said this. We've got some locals from Surat here. They've just come across the Cube of Truth, and they're going to tell us what they think and what they saw. So tell us, what did you see? What did you see on the video?
How it's made, how it got pregnant, how is cow milk, that cow, small kids are being treated. We have never seen this, but seeing this video our mind has changed. We are looking to replace milk with some other item, and we should find a new better way, and we should protect cow.
Say no to cow.
Say no to harm.
Say no to harm.
And this one, please.
Do no harm, and the himsa.
Ahimsa Parmo Dharma.
No, thank you so much.
It's not always that simple though, and it's definitely not always that easy. Milk drinking in India is closely tied to religious and cultural mythology. Many conversations that you have end up with people using very irrational and overly emotional reasons and excuses. This is nothing new to most vegans, as people do this all around the world, but the main difference in India is that it is directly linked with religious and cultural mythology. It tends to come with a lot more passion and a lot more risk if you're going to speak against it. There is also a much darker side to consider as a vegan visiting India. Slaughter shops in India are open to the public, meaning that you can walk up and watch the entire process from an animal being alive to them being in pieces, being put into a plastic bag. This open slaughter does create a desensitization with some people who are going to these places to buy the animal flesh. But with a few questions and some patience, the caring human nature of people does come out. There was one talk I gave where I showed some very graphic footage. One of the audience came over to me. Here's a quick video with a quick interview I did with him after the presentation.
I'm already halfway into something called a food truck. And I'm basically going to be charging and serving barbecue chicken. That was what my concept was about. And now, since I've been through the store, been through what I didn't want to see on screen, I've seen those things, I really feel sad about the pigs and the chickens that are happening to the animals. And I now really prefer to serve something else rather than getting them slaughtered and serving that to people. What you said was a 5-minute taste.
Yeah.
You just eat it and it's off.
It's done, yeah.
So it's rather not to have that. Have something that is like you don't have to disturb them for their life.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically what I'm trying to do is now chicken is off, soya is in. So now the barbecue is with soya. So that's what we're going to start with.
No, it's awesome, man. Honestly, it's made my day. Seriously, really made my day. Thanks so much.
It's what you made mine.
Awesome, man.
And that brings me on to the next point, the vegan movement. What's it like in India? The Indian vegan and animal rights activists are some of the most amazing, passionate, inspiring people I have ever worked with. All vegans and activists have to deal with ridiculous excuses, some people who get angry at us and all this kind of stuff. In India, just by suggesting milk, eggs, meat, or using animal products is cruel, you can be targeted by religious groups saying that you are somehow going against their religion, and that makes you intolerant, offensive, or bigoted somehow. You can see this with two recent PETA campaigns where PETA was attacked for being Hindu-phobic and attacked again for being Islamophobic. But the Indian vegans persist. They show little to no fear in standing up against religious and cultural norms that abuse animals. They unapologetically stand for the animals. I met an activist out there who was going out to rural villages in the middle of nowhere to teach people how they could thrive without using animals. I met a Muslim activist who, as a protest to Eid, the festival where animals are slaughtered, he left his home and put a photograph of himself with a sign saying, "I am not at home because my house is a slaughterhouse today." This is so risky. And he has taken a lot of hate for speaking about Islam and trying to get Muslims to be vegan, but he still does it. There was even one group in the country that did vegan outreach on the streets for 106 days in a row. The lessons I learned from working with Indian activists and vegans are invaluable. They taught me not to be afraid of standing up for what is right, even when I'm outnumbered. To not be afraid for standing up for what is right, even if it means being singled out or targeted as an enemy of some group somewhere. They taught me to be more direct and to put up with less BS from people desperately trying to defend their animal abusing habits. My experience in India was not easy. Constantly exposing myself to the horrific violence that was being done to these animals really did take its toll. But the passion and courage of these local activists gave me the strength I needed to push forward and carry on. Reach out to communities around the world. Visit them. I can guarantee you that every single vegan community on earth would appreciate your support. Wherever we are in the world, we're all in this together. Before you go, don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell so you don't miss any more of my videos in the future. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.